Sweetheart, never stay where you have to beg to feel loved. Robert Kensington stopped walking. Not slowed. Stopped. Behind him, the grand ballroom of the Kensington estate shimmered beneath crystal chandeliers. Nearly 300 guests waited beyond the white oak doors. A string quartet played softly somewhere inside, each note polished and perfect. In 90 seconds, Robert was supposed to marry Evelyn Whitmore, the woman everyone said was perfect for him. He stood 6 feet 4 inches tall in a perfectly tailored black tuxedo, one hand resting near the silver cuff link at his wrist. At 42, Robert had negotiated billion-dollar acquisitions without blinking. He had faced boardrooms filled with men waiting for him to make one wrong decision, but one quiet sentence spoken by a stranger in a service hallway had somehow made his chest tighten. "Mommy has to go," the woman continued softly. "I love you, okay? Be good for Mrs. Palmer." Robert turned. She stood perhaps 20 feet away, half hidden beside a catering cart. Jennifer Sullivan. He didn't know her name yet. All he saw was a woman who clearly belonged to the working staff, not the guest list. Golden copper hair fell in loose waves around a gentle face. Her uniform was simple. Her shoes looked practical and worn from hours of standing. She held a phone against her ear with one hand. With the other, she pressed a folded napkin against her chest. "Good night, baby," she whispered. "I'll be home before you wake up." A tiny voice came faintly through the phone. Robert couldn't make out every word, but he heard one question. "Are you happy, Mommy?" Jennifer became very still. For a moment, the noise of the wedding seemed to disappear. Then she smiled, though no one was there to see it. "I am when I'm with you." She ended the call. Robert looked away before she noticed him. He didn't understand why. Perhaps because he suddenly felt as though he had overheard something private. Something honest. And honesty felt strangely out of place tonight. "Mr. Kensington?" His wedding coordinator appeared at the end of the corridor. "We're ready for you." Robert nodded. "Thank you." She disappeared through the ballroom doors. He remained where he was. 90 seconds. That was all that separated him from the life everyone had planned. The Kensington family had approved. The Whitmore family had approved. Business magazines had already called the marriage a union between two American dynasties. Outside, photographers waited behind the gates. Inside, champagne filled hundreds of glasses. Everything was exactly where it belonged. Except Robert. He looked toward Jennifer again. She had already slipped her phone into her pocket and returned to work. No dramatic expression. No tears. No idea that the groom had heard her. She simply lifted a tray and walked away. Robert lowered his eyes. "Never stay where you have to beg to feel loved." The words returned. Not loudly, almost gently, and somehow that made them harder to ignore. The ballroom doors opened. Warm light spilled across the marble floor. Hundreds of people rose beyond them. At the far end of the aisle stood Evelyn, beautiful beneath a veil that had taken 6 months to design. Robert drew one slow breath. Then another. He stepped forward. Once. Twice. And as the doors closed behind him, Robert Kensington understood something that frightened him more than losing money, reputation, or approval. For the first time in his life, he wasn't sure he could make himself say yes. 3 hours earlier, Jennifer Sullivan had entered the Kensington estate through the service entrance, carrying a canvas tote bag and a lunch she had packed before sunrise. The front of the estate belonged to another world. Black cars curved along the circular driveway. White flowers framed the stone steps. Guests arrived in tailored suits and elegant dresses, while staff members moved quietly behind them, making perfection look effortless. Jennifer saw almost none of it. Her world was downstairs. Stainless steel counters, warming trays, coffee urns, stacks of polished glassware. The steady rhythm of people trying to serve 300 guests without letting anyone notice how difficult that actually was. Jennifer tied her apron and checked the time. Her shift ended at midnight. If everything went well, she would be home before her daughter woke up. That mattered more than anything. Jennifer, ballroom service. She looked toward the catering supervisor. "Yes, ma'am. Table section C. Keep the water glasses filled, clear anything immediately, and stay out of the photographer's way." Jennifer nodded. Understood. She had worked enough temporary catering jobs to understand the rules. Be polite. Be quick. Be invisible. Invisible was something Jennifer knew how to do. At 32, she had learned that survival rarely looked dramatic. Sometimes it looked like taking an extra Saturday shift because the electric bill was higher than expected. Sometimes it looked like wearing comfortable shoes long after the soles had begun to thin. And sometimes it looked like smiling when your feet hurt because your daughter needed new school clothes next month. Jennifer stepped into the ballroom carrying a tray of water glasses. For one brief second she stopped. The room was breathtaking. Crystal chandeliers scattered warm light across ivory tablecloths. Tall arrangements of white roses rose above silver place settings. Beyond the windows, late afternoon sunlight stretched across acres of carefully maintained lawn. Jennifer smiled faintly. Then someone bumped her shoulder. A young server beside her lost control of a tray. 3 glasses tipped. Water spilled across the edge of a linen-covered table. The girl's face went pale. "I am so sorry." The catering supervisor appeared almost immediately. "Madison, seriously? We discussed this." "I know. I am sorry." Someone stepped backward and "No excuses." Jennifer saw the girl's hands trembling. She also noticed several guests watching. That was enough. "It was partly my fault," Jennifer said. The supervisor turned. Jennifer continued calmly. "I moved too close behind her. I should have given her more room." Madison looked at Jennifer in surprise. It was not true. Jennifer knew it. Madison knew it. But the supervisor glanced toward the guests, lowered her voice, and pointed toward the service doors. "Both of you, clean it up quickly." "Yes, ma'am." Jennifer reached for a towel. Across the ballroom, Robert Kensington had seen everything. He had been standing beside 2 board members, listening to a conversation about international markets he had already heard twice that week. Now he was no longer listening. His attention remained on the woman kneeling beside the table. She had accepted blame that did not belong to her. There had been no audience she wanted to impress, no advantage to gain, just a frightened young employee, and someone who decided she should not stand alone. "Robert." He turned. Evelyn stood beside him, radiant and composed. "The photographer needs us upstairs." Robert offered a polite nod. "Of course." He followed his future wife toward the staircase, but halfway there he glanced back. Jennifer was already carrying another tray, working, moving, invisible again. Robert did not know her name. He did not know she was raising a daughter alone. He did not know that the woman he had just noticed would soon say something she never intended him to hear. He only knew one thing. In a room filled with people trying desperately to be seen, she was the first person he noticed because she was not trying at all. By late afternoon, the Kensington estate had become a portrait of perfection. Every candle was placed at the same height. Every white rose had been inspected. Every champagne glass caught the warm light exactly as someone had planned months before. Robert stood near the tall ballroom windows while 2 men discussed what his marriage would mean for the Kensington and Whitmore families. "People are calling it the partnership of the decade," one of them said. Robert looked across the lawn. Partnership. It was an interesting word for a wedding. His father had used it that morning. So had Evelyn's father. Even a financial columnist had described the marriage as a natural alignment between 2 influential American families. Nobody had used the word love. "Robert." Evelyn approached with her wedding planner beside her. She was elegant, calm, and perfectly prepared. "The photographer wants 10 minutes with us before I change into the ceremony gown." Robert nodded. "All right." Evelyn studied him. "You seem distracted." "I am thinking." "About tonight?" He almost smiled. "Should I be thinking about something else?" She adjusted the arrangement of flowers on a nearby table. "I just want everything to go according to plan." There was nothing cruel in her voice. That was what made the moment harder. Evelyn was not a bad woman. She had spent her entire life learning the same lessons Robert had learned. Responsibility came before desire, family expectations mattered, and private uncertainty should never disturb public appearances. They understood each other, perhaps too well. Robert watched her speak with the planner about photographs, seating arrangements, and the timing of their entrance. Everything had a place. Everything had a schedule. Even happiness seemed to have been assigned 15 minutes between dinner and the first dance. Then Robert noticed Jennifer again. She was crossing the far side of the ballroom with a coffee pot when an elderly woman at table 12 reached uncertainly toward her purse. Jennifer stopped. The woman said something Robert could not hear. Jennifer set down the coffee, opened the purse with permission, and carefully searched through it. A moment later, she handed the woman a small medication case and brought her a fresh glass of water. The elderly woman touched Jennifer's hand. Jennifer smiled. No one applauded. No camera turned toward them. Within seconds, Jennifer picked up the coffee pot and continued working. Robert's gaze followed her. "Who are you looking at?" Evelyn's question brought him back. "No one." The answer came too quickly. Evelyn glanced across the room, then returned her attention to him. "My father wants to speak with you before the ceremony. Something about the Kensington Foundation. Today. He thinks tonight is the right time. Everyone important is already here." Robert looked at her. Everyone important. The phrase lingered. Across the ballroom, Jennifer was quietly helping another server replace a stained tablecloth before the guests noticed. Robert wondered how many people in that room had passed her without seeing her. Then another thought came. How many people had passed him without seeing him? Not Robert Kensington, the billionaire. Not the heir. Not the chief executive officer. Just Robert. He searched his memory for the last person who had asked what he wanted without already having an answer prepared for him. Nothing came. For the first time that day, the ballroom felt strangely crowded and strangely lonely. Evelyn touched his sleeve. "We should go." Robert nodded. He followed her toward the staircase, surrounded by flowers, music, wealth, and nearly 300 people preparing to celebrate his future. Yet somewhere beneath all that perfection, a quiet question had begun forming. It was still too small to frighten him, too private to say aloud, but it was there. If this was supposed to be the happiest day of his life, why did it feel like everyone had arrived except him? The first small act had made Robert curious. The second had made him pay attention. The third happened less than an hour before the ceremony. Jennifer had finally been given 10 minutes for dinner. She sat at a narrow table near the service kitchen, her canvas tote beside her chair, eating a turkey sandwich she had made at home that morning. Across from her, Madison stared at an empty paper plate. "You are not eating?" Madison shook her head. "I forgot my wallet in my car, and they moved employee parking almost half a mile away. I will grab something after the ceremony." Jennifer looked at her sandwich. Then she quietly separated half of it and placed it on Madison's plate. Madison blinked. "No, Jennifer, that is your dinner. It is half my dinner. You have been working since noon." "So have you." Jennifer slid the plate closer. "Eat." Madison smiled. This time Robert did not witness it. He was upstairs, standing beside Evelyn's father in a private study lined with old books and family photographs. The conversation lasted 11 minutes. Not once did anyone mention the marriage itself. They discussed charitable foundations, business relationships, press coverage, and the advantages of presenting both families as a united front. Robert listened politely. Then Evelyn's father raised his glass. "To the future." Robert looked at the untouched drink in his own hand. "To the future," he replied, but the words felt borrowed. Downstairs, Jennifer had returned to the ballroom when she heard a child crying near the west corridor. A little girl, perhaps 6 years old, stood beside a marble column. Her small white shoes were planted firmly on the floor, but tears rolled silently down her cheeks. Jennifer immediately lowered herself to the child's eye level. "Hey there. Are you lost?" The girl nodded. "I cannot find my mom." "All right. What is your name?" "Lucy." Jennifer smiled gently. "Okay, Lucy. My name is Jennifer. We are going to find her together." A supervisor appeared behind them. "Jennifer, table 14 needs clearing. I will be there in a minute. You need to be there now." Jennifer looked at Lucy. The child's fingers had tightened around the edge of her dress. Jennifer stood, but she did not leave. "I understand. I just need to get her back to her mother first." The supervisor sighed. "Security can handle it." Jennifer's voice remained soft. She is already scared. I am not handing her to another stranger. A few feet away, Robert had just entered the corridor. He heard every word. Jennifer did not notice him. She offered Lucy her hand, then stopped herself. Would you like to hold my hand, or would you rather walk beside me? Lucy considered the question. Then she reached for Jennifer. Together they crossed the hallway. 2 minutes later, a woman rushed around the corner, breathless with worry. Lucy! The little girl ran toward her. Her mother wrapped her in a relieved embrace, then looked at Jennifer. Thank you. I turned around for 1 second. Jennifer shook her head. She is okay. That is what matters. Nothing more. No expectation. No request. Jennifer simply returned to work. Robert remained in the corridor. 3 moments. A frightened server. An elderly guest. A lost child. Different people. Different circumstances. The same choice. Jennifer Sullivan kept noticing people everyone else was too busy to see. And Robert, surrounded by people who had spent months planning every detail of his wedding, suddenly wondered why kindness seemed so rare in a place filled with so much abundance. His phone vibrated. A message from his assistant. Ceremony begins in 20 minutes. Robert read it twice. Then he looked toward the corridor where Jennifer had disappeared. For reasons he could not yet explain, the approaching ceremony no longer felt like a beginning, felt like a question, and somewhere inside him, an answer he had avoided for years was finally beginning to wake. 20 minutes became 12, then 8. The estate seemed to move faster as the ceremony approached. Staff members crossed the service corridors with trays and folded linens. The quartet began its final warm-up. Beyond the closed ballroom doors, nearly 300 guests settled into their seats. Robert stood alone near the west hallway. He should have been upstairs. Instead, he found himself staring through a tall window at the fading afternoon light. His phone vibrated again. He ignored it. Then from around the corner he heard Jennifer's voice. "Hi, sweetheart." Robert recognized the softness immediately. He remained where he was, hidden from her view by the open service door. Jennifer stood beside a catering cart, phone pressed to her ear. "Yes, I ate dinner." A pause. "All right. Half a dinner." Her daughter apparently said something that made Jennifer laugh. It was a small laugh, tired but real. "I promise I am fine." Robert lowered his eyes. There was something strangely intimate about hearing someone speak without knowing they were being observed. No performance. No careful wording. Just truth. Then the little voice on the phone became faintly audible. "Mom, if somebody has a beautiful wedding, does that mean they really love each other?" Jennifer went silent. Robert looked toward her. She leaned against the wall, considering the question with more seriousness than most adults would have given it. "No, sweetheart." Her voice was gentle. "A wedding can be beautiful." Another pause. "But love is whether someone makes you feel safe when nobody is watching." Robert stopped breathing for a moment. Jennifer continued. "It is how they speak to you when they are tired. It is whether they listen when something matters to you. It is knowing you do not have to become smaller just to keep someone beside you." The hallway seemed to narrow around him. Beyond the doors, the quartet began playing. Robert could hear guests shifting in their seats. He could hear glasses being collected. He could hear the machinery of a perfect evening moving forward. But Jennifer's words remained louder than all of it. "Sweetheart, never stay where you have to beg to feel loved." There it was. The sentence he would carry into the ceremony. Jennifer smiled faintly. "I love you too. I will see you in the morning." She ended the call. Robert stepped backward before she could notice him. His hand closed around the edge of the windowsill. He thought of Evelyn. Not with anger. That would have been easier. He thought of dinners interrupted by business calls, vacations arranged around public appearances, conversations where both of them had been polite enough to avoid saying anything real. He remembered asking Evelyn once whether she was happy. She had answered by telling him how fortunate they were. At the time, he had accepted that as an answer. Now he understood it was not one. A door opened behind him. "Robert." His mother stood there. "They are ready." He looked past her. Through the ballroom entrance, he could see rows of guests rising. At the far end waited Evelyn. beautiful, composed, expecting him. Robert straightened his jacket. For 42 years, he had been taught that honorable men kept their promises. But another truth came quietly behind it. An honorable man did not make a promise he already knew was false. Robert took one slow breath. Then he walked toward the ceremony. No one watching him could see that anything had changed. His expression remained calm. His steps remained measured. But with every foot between him and the altar, Jennifer's words followed. Love is whether someone makes you feel safe when nobody is watching. Robert reached the front. Evelyn looked into his eyes. And for the first time that day, her perfect smile hesitated. Because she saw it. Something was different. The officiant opened his book. The room became silent. Robert Kensington looked at the woman he was supposed to marry, and finally stopped lying to himself. The officiant began speaking. Robert heard the words, but for the first time in his life, he could not make duty silence the truth. Beside him, Evelyn stood beneath the warm chandelier light. Her veil rested perfectly over her shoulders. Her hands were steady around the white roses she carried. She looked exactly as everyone expected a bride to look. Then the officiant turned to Robert. Robert, are you ready to make your vows? Silence. It lasted only a few seconds. In a room like this, a few seconds could feel endless. Evelyn searched his face. Robert. He looked at her. Not at the guests. Not at their parents. At her. I am sorry. Her expression changed. Barely. But he saw it. What are you doing? She whispered. Robert drew one slow breath. Something I should have done before today. A quiet murmur moved through the room. Robert turned toward the officiant. Could you give us a moment, please? The man hesitated, then stepped back. Evelyn lowered her bouquet. You are frightening me. I do not want to. Then say your vows. Robert closed his eyes for one brief moment. That would have been easier. 2 minutes of carefully prepared words, followed by applause, photographs, dinner. A life neither of them had been brave enough to question. He opened his eyes. I cannot. Evelyn stared at him. Robert kept his voice low. If I say those words today, I will be lying to everyone in this room, including you. The ballroom became completely still. Evelyn looked toward the guests, then back at him. Why now? There was no anger in the question, only hurt. And that hurt made Robert's answer harder. Because I kept believing that doing what was expected was the same as doing what was right. His voice softened. It is not. Evelyn's eyes glistened. Do you love someone else? Robert thought of Jennifer, the gentle-faced woman in a catering uniform who did not even know he had hurt her. No, the answer was immediate. This is not about another woman. Evelyn studied him. Then something in her expression loosened. A truth of her own, perhaps. You do not love me. Robert swallowed. Not the way you deserve to be loved. Another silence. Then Evelyn looked down at her flowers. You could have realized this yesterday. I know. Last month. I know. Before 300 people came here. Robert lowered his head. I know. For once, there was nothing his money could repair. No assistant could reschedule this moment. No carefully written statement could make it painless. He could only tell the truth. I am sorry, Evelyn. She looked at him for a long time. Then she whispered something only he could hear. I think I knew too. Robert's eyes lifted. Evelyn gave the smallest, saddest smile. We were very good at looking right together. Those words settled between them. Robert nodded. Yes. He turned toward the guests. His mother sat motionless in the front row. Evelyn's father looked stunned. Hundreds of faces waited for an explanation. Robert did not give them one. This belonged to Evelyn and him. He removed the white boutonniere from his lapel and placed it gently on the table beside the officiant. Then he looked at Evelyn once more. I am sorry. She nodded. Robert stepped away from the altar. One step, then another. No one stopped him. He walked down the long aisle beneath the chandeliers, past the flowers, cameras, and carefully arranged evidence of a future that would never happen. At the ballroom doors, he paused. Beyond them was the quiet service corridor. For the first time that day, Robert did not know what came next. And strangely, That uncertainty felt more truthful than anything he had left behind. By sunrise, everyone had an explanation. None of them was true. Robert had spent the night away from the estate, in a quiet hotel room overlooking Manhattan. His phone remained face down on the desk while messages arrived faster than he could read them. Family, board members, friends, reporters. By 8 that morning, photographs from the wedding were already circulating online. One image showed Robert entering the West Corridor shortly before the ceremony. Jennifer was visible in the background. That was enough. By noon, strangers had decided she was the reason. Jennifer learned about it while making scrambled eggs for her daughter. Her phone rang beside the stove. Jennifer Sullivan? Yes. This is Mr. Dalton from the catering company. His voice was unusually formal. Jennifer turned down the burner. Is something wrong? A pause followed. We have received concerns regarding your interaction with Mr. Kensington yesterday. Jennifer stared at the kitchen wall. My interaction? There are photographs. I served at his wedding. Of course there are photographs. Her daughter looked up from the table. Jennifer softened her expression immediately. Mr. Dalton continued. We think it would be best if you did not accept any additional assignments until this situation settles. Jennifer understood what that meant. How long? I cannot say. The call ended 2 minutes later. Jennifer stood beside the stove, listening to the quiet hum of the refrigerator. She needed those weekend shifts. Rent would not wait for rumors to disappear. Neither would groceries. Her daughter watched her carefully. Mom, are you okay? Jennifer managed a smile. I will be. Across the city, Robert was finally reading the reports. He saw Jennifer's photograph. Then he saw the speculation beneath it. His expression hardened. Get me the catering company, he told his assistant. Less than an hour later, Robert learned Jennifer had been removed from the schedule. He made one more call, this time to Jennifer. She almost did not answer. Miss Sullivan, this is Robert Kensington. Silence. Then Jennifer spoke. I know who you are. I heard what happened with your job. So did I. I can fix it. Another pause. Robert expected relief. Instead, Jennifer's voice became quieter. Did you tell them I had something to do with your decision? No, did I? Robert looked toward the window. No. Then tell people that. I will. And I would also like to compensate you for the work you may lose. Jennifer closed her eyes. There it was. The solution powerful men always understood. Money. Mr. Kensington, please do not. Robert hesitated. I am trying to make this right. No. You are trying to make it disappear. The words landed cleanly. Jennifer continued. You made your choice yesterday. I did not make it for you. I know. Then do not make me pay for it. And do not pay me to make yourself feel better. Robert said nothing. Jennifer's voice softened, but it did not weaken. I do not need to be rescued, Mr. Kensington. I need to be respected. For the second time in less than 24 hours, Robert had no prepared answer. He had spent his life solving problems with influence, access, and money. Jennifer wanted none of them. She wanted the truth. All right, he said quietly. All right, what? I will tell the truth. Publicly. Your name should never have been part of this. Jennifer released a slow breath. Thank you. Before she ended the call, Robert spoke again. Miss Sullivan? Yes. I heard what you told your daughter yesterday. Silence filled the line. Robert looked down. You reminded me of something I should have understood years ago. Jennifer did not ask what. She simply said, then make sure what you do next belongs to you. The call ended. Robert remained beside the window, holding the silent phone. For the first time, he understood the difference between helping someone and respecting them enough to listen. Robert kept his word. Before noon, his office released a statement written in language so simple that his public relations team had argued against it. The decision at the ceremony had been his alone. No employee, guest, or member of the event staff had influenced him. Jennifer Sullivan had done nothing wrong. Robert insisted her name remain in the statement, not because he wanted people to notice her, because they had already noticed her for the wrong reason. By evening, the catering company called Jennifer and restored her shifts. Robert did not call to tell her. He was beginning to understand that doing the right thing did not always require being thanked for it. The weeks that followed were quieter. Evelyn released a brief statement of her own. She asked for privacy, refused to blame Robert, and disappeared from the public conversation with the same dignity she had shown at the altar. Robert respected her more for that than he knew how to say. Then he turned his attention somewhere unexpected. His own company. One morning, Robert entered Kensington Holdings through the employee entrance instead of the executive lobby. He noticed things he had passed for years. A security guard standing through an entire shift because his chair had been removed. A receptionist eating lunch at her desk because coverage was short. A maintenance worker checking a bus schedule because evening shifts ended after the nearest route stopped running regularly. Small things. That was the problem. They were always small enough for powerful people not to notice. Robert began asking questions. Not from the boardroom, from the people doing the work. Over the next several months, scheduling policies changed. Emergency family leave became easier to access. Hourly employees received expanded child care assistance. Managers were required to meet regularly with frontline staff. Robert rejected every suggestion to attach his name to the changes. They are company policies, he told his communications director. Not a charity campaign. Something inside him had shifted, but there was still one conversation unfinished. For months after the wedding, Robert found Jennifer outside a neighborhood community center on a cool Saturday morning. He came alone. No driver. No assistant. No photographers. Jennifer was loading boxes of donated children's books onto a folding table when she noticed him. Mr. Kensington. Robert, he said. She considered that. Robert. He smiled faintly. I came to apologize. You already fixed what happened with my job. That is not what I mean. Jennifer waited. Robert slipped his hands into the pockets of his dark coat. I heard your conversation with your daughter. Then I made a life-changing decision. Afterward, when things became difficult, my first instinct was to solve your problem with money. He looked at her directly. You were right to stop me. Jennifer's expression softened. You were having a difficult day. That is generous. It is accurate. Robert almost laughed. For once, there was no polished response waiting behind his teeth. Jennifer picked up another box. Robert reached for the opposite side. May I? She nodded. Together, they carried it toward the table. It weighed perhaps 20 pounds. Nothing significant. Nothing Robert could not have paid someone else to carry. Yet somehow, walking beside Jennifer with a cardboard box between them felt more honest than many of the grand rooms he had spent his life commanding. At the table, Jennifer brushed a strand of golden copper hair from her face. So what happens now? Robert looked around the community center. Children were choosing books. Parents were talking over paper cups of coffee. Volunteers moved between folding tables. Ordinary life. Real life. I am not sure. Jennifer smiled. That might be good for you. This time Robert did laugh. And Jennifer joined him. There was no promise between them. No rescue. No grand declaration. Just two people standing beside a table of donated books, finally meeting without wealth, scandal, or expectation between them. For the first time, Jennifer was not looking at a billionaire chief executive officer. She was looking at Robert. And for the first time in years, Robert felt seen. Almost a year later, Jennifer stood beneath strings of warm lights in the garden behind a small community church. There were no reporters, no velvet ropes, no guest list filled with powerful names. Just folding chairs, white flowers in glass jars, children running across the grass, and about 60 people who genuinely wanted to be there. Madison was getting married. The young server Jennifer had protected at the Kensington estate had eventually left catering, finished her nursing program, and built a quieter life with a man who made her laugh whenever she became nervous. Jennifer sat near the back. Robert sat beside her. Between them was Jennifer's daughter, wearing a pale blue dress and holding 3 wildflowers she had picked near the parking lot. Over the past year, Robert had become part of their lives slowly. That mattered to Jennifer. He never arrived with solutions she had not requested. He learned to ask. He learned to listen. Sometimes he joined them for Sunday breakfast at a neighborhood diner, where Jennifer's daughter insisted pancakes tasted better when someone else paid attention to the syrup ratio. Sometimes Robert helped at the community center. Sometimes he simply sat at Jennifer's kitchen table while she sorted bills and her daughter worked on homework. There was nothing impressive about those evenings. Robert treasured them. The ceremony began. Madison appeared at the end of the short aisle, smiling through tears. Her future husband saw her and forgot, for several seconds, that anyone else existed. Jennifer smiled. Beside her, Robert did too. Then Jennifer felt a small hand tug her sleeve. "Mom!" She leaned closer. "What is it, sweetheart?" Her daughter looked toward Madison and her groom. "Is this what love looks like?" Jennifer became still. Nearly a year earlier, another innocent question had changed the direction of several lives. Robert heard this one too, but he did not answer. He had learned that some questions were not his to solve. Jennifer looked at the couple beneath the simple wooden arch. Then she looked at Robert. The billionaire the world knew was still there. The tailored suit, the calm confidence, the responsibilities waiting for him Monday morning. But Jennifer knew the man cameras rarely saw. The man who now knew the security guards by name. The man who had spent 2 hours assembling a bookshelf for her daughter because he refused to admit the instructions confused him. The man who had learned that kindness was not something powerful people gave downward. It was something human beings gave each other. "Sometimes," Jennifer whispered. Her daughter waited. Jennifer smiled. "But mostly, love looks like what people do after everyone stops watching." Robert lowered his eyes. A moment later, his hand rested quietly beside Jennifer's on the chair. He did not reach for her. Jennifer did. Her fingers slipped gently into his. Robert looked at her. No grand declaration followed. None was needed. Ahead of them, Madison exchanged her vows. The guests applauded. Jennifer's daughter threw her 3 wildflowers into the air because she had misunderstood when she was supposed to use them. And Robert laughed so warmly that Jennifer laughed with him. For once, nothing had been planned perfectly, and somehow everything felt right. Robert had once believed a meaningful life would announce itself through accomplishments, buildings, headlines, and rooms filled with important people. Jennifer had taught him something quieter. The moments that changed a person rarely arrived with applause. Sometimes they came through a frightened child, a shared sandwich, a simple apology, a hand offered without expectation, or one ordinary sentence spoken when nobody was supposed to be listening. Robert gently held Jennifer's hand as the evening light faded over the garden. He had spent years building a life that looked complete from the outside. It took one kind woman to show him what had been missing within it. And this time, he did not need anyone else to tell him he was exactly where he belonged.